So now that I've shared a little about my work, I'd like to turn to exploring the theme of being in tune with self, ourselves. Turn to exploring who and what the self may be that we're being in tune with. In my experience and personal study of spirituality, there are two selves. There is the self that I'm deeming with the small s, and then there's the self with the capital S. The self with the small s is the human self, the physical self, the part of self that has cognitive thinking, psychological aspects, logic, emotions, and every other aspect of self that is mortal and all that is the quality of matter. The self with the capital S, to me, is what I see as being the spiritual self, the divine self, unmanifested, the quiet, the devotional self. The aspect of self that is connected to the flow of joy, of love, and of feelings of gratitude, the immeasurable, the immortal, and all that is the essence of energy. For me to work in spiritual care most effectively, there needs to be a combination and a partnership, a unity and union of the two aspects of self. In some spiritual traditions, the physical body is not as important as the spiritual body. But I believe that if I don't have my physical body in tune as best I can, then this has an impact on my ability to be in tune. Being in tune with the physical body is knowing when it's time to eat, time to sleep, ensuring to drink enough water, having healthy foods and exercise. But there's a disclaimer that my partner really wanted me to say, which is quite funny. She said, but you know, the last time that you properly exercised, Heather, you couldn't walk for 4 days. So I don't claim to have all of these factors down pat, but as the cliche goes, the body is a temple, a house for the soul. The stronger and more vibrant the vessel, the greater the capacity to live in clear relationship with spirit. In today's fast-paced world, it is common that people are under pressure and chronic stress. Stress can cause the connection to source energy to be weak and forgotten, where we become deaf to the art of listening, where we have blunt ears. I believe that with the increase of stress, there is also an increase in spiritual sickness, whereby people's ability to be connected to God and in tune with themselves is impeded. In amongst the endless need for care in hospitals with countless patients, being in tune with the physical self is also knowing when to stop, when it's time to say, I've done my best today, and that has to be enough. But as someone with a compassionate, ever-giving heart, this is something I personally have had to learn over time. Being in tune with the human self includes the aspects of logic, of thoughts, and how to weave in and through the physical world. In other words, knowing how to be aware of the environment we're in and the people who are in it. To be in tune with yourself means that you're practicing self-care and being compassionately in tune with your emotions. The word emotion comes from the Latin origin of energy in motion. And even though chaplains do more listening than talking, it doesn't void us of having emotions during spiritual care encounters. Many patient encounters are laden with observing people in grief or facing challenges. And so as a chaplain or spiritual carer, having time out when needed is a crucial component to the work. And I've observed this in the in the chaplains that I've worked with from afar, I've observed that they take that time. And in most other workplaces, that's not encouraged, nor is it acceptable. Having the wisdom to say to oneself, I need to step back and have a rest, means we can take time to process or to recharge by being in stillness. And all of this is engaging in the valuable process of reflection. Becoming wiser and intuitive grows our capacity to be in tune with ourselves. It brings clarity about our deepest values and intentions and helps us to be in tune with them as we live them, share them, and express them. So we've looked at the aspects of self from the small s, the perspective of being a human being with all of its wonderful and perfectly imperfect flaws. Now let's explore the spiritual aspect of self that works in union with the physical self. Being in tune with this spiritual self may be likened to being in a relationship of trust and connection with the divine as life unfolds. Hearing our intuitive voice, the quiet voice inside, and feelings in the body, those hunches, gut feelings and callings, is learning to be in tune with the spiritual self. It's about finding a way to access the pure wisdom that is within us or channeled through us, and being able to utilise this combination of languages, of guidance, sensations and intuitions all together in partnership with the human self. The union of the physical self with the spiritual self manifests action in the world, resulting in human interaction with patients, healthcare staff and the environment. And for this union to be at its best, we can combine good physical health with good regular spiritual practice that aligns us with God and with the sacred. So for you, perhaps it's meditation, contemplation, maybe it's chanting or prayer. Perhaps it's ritual, ceremony, worship, being out in nature. And for me, one of those ways of being in union is through creativity, sound and music. In our multi-faith society, there are many spiritual practices which point to the same destination of ultimate union. And when the two selves come together as matter and energy, then we are part of a triad of being in tune. Being in tune with the divine, with self, and with others.